that started with this caravan, some now having permission from the Mexican government to be here without fear of deportation, having that special permit that allows them to be here. But many of them still saying they plan to go to the United States. Others saying they're afraid of the rhetoric coming out of the White House and they will stay in Mexico over going to the United States. Now, the president of the United States, President Trump, has said that the numbers are dwindling, that this is a caravan that is breaking up. And while this group is seeing the numbers diminish and they are breaking up into smaller groups, that is actually something that is quite normal. Remember, this is a caravan that has been organized for years. They've been doing this for more than 5 years. And every year they start with a big number, this year about 1,200, and then the groups get smaller and smaller as they make their way to the north. And organizers say that a group of about 200, they believe, will make it to the U.S.-Mexico border to seek asylum. I asked some of the people here today what will happen if they encounter National Guard troops, given that President Trump says that is the new plan to provide more security on the border. And many of the people here said if they have to wait, they'll wait. If they have to find another way, they'll find another way, but they will make it to the United States of America. Dave, Renee?
Thanks, Layla. Well, we have some stunning video to show you. Take a look at this. A towering crane being used to build the new police headquarters in St. Petersburg, Florida, collapses, sending workers literally running for their lives. Security video captured the massive crane, about 10-story high, falling over Thursday morning, just barely missing some of the construction workers on the ground. Thankfully, no one was injured. Officials say the falling crane created no hazardous conditions and there was minimal damage to the construction site. Thank goodness for that.
Indeed. Close call there. Ahead, day one at the Masters, and defending champ Sergio Garcia was a master of disaster. Oh, watch this ball. You know it's going to the drink. Coy Wire brings you the details next in the Bleacher Report.
Almost there.
She's coming.
My video call's lagging. Mom.
Hold up. We got a laggy video call here. You need Verizon, the best network for streaming. Here, trade you. Okay, people, that's a reset.
You want us to surprise her again?
Yeah, but like in a fun way, like this.
All my favorite friends are here. There's Tony and Diane.
Like something like that.
Get up to 50% off our best phones, like the Samsung Galaxy S9 and the Google Pixel 2, because unlimited is only as good as the network it's on.
Does your moisturizing routine have an MVP?
Mine does.
Aveeno Skin Relief with oat oil and natural shea butter. It softens very dry skin and lasts for 24 hours.
Aveeno. It's a game changer.
Chappaquiddick is one of the best films of 2018, with a thrilling screenplay brilliantly brought to life.
A dead body holds a lot of secrets.
Edge of your seat absorbing.
What the hell happened to you? I'm not going to be president.
Chappaquiddick, rated PG-13.
Years in the sun causing dark spots? Gold Bond Dark Spot Minimizing Cream helps fade their look with a targeted skin tone evening complex. 81% saw improvement in the appearance of sun-damaged skin. Gold Bond for dark spots, in the body lotion aisle.
Empire Today here to introduce a revolution in flooring, only available at Empire. Home Fresh Carpet. If you have asthma or allergies like me, or just want to keep your home clean, Home Fresh Carpet is a game changer. Unlike traditional carpet, dust and dirt vacuum up easier, it's mold and mildew resistant, and it helps eliminate odors. Love carpet again with Home Fresh, hypoallergenic, odor-reducing carpet.
800-588-2300.
Exclusively at Empire Today.
Empire
Today.
The three-pointer changed the game, and so does this. The new three-point rib bloom, only $12.99. Signature barbecue ribs and cheese fries on top of our bloomin' onion. Available for a limited time. Outback Steakhouse, Aussie rules.
This is something that I'm really passionate about. I really want to help.
I was on my way out of this life.
There are patients out there that don't have a lot of time.
Finally, it was like the sun rose again. And I was going to start fighting back now.
When those patients come to me and say, "You saved my life,"
my life was saved by a 2-week-old targeted therapy drug.
That's what really drives me to save lives.
Pain wants to stop you, block you, limit you. But pain does not get the final word. You do. Icy hot. Icy to dull, hot to relax. Can you imagine your life without pain? I can. Icy hot. Rise from pain.
Did you know that every time you use the internet, you put yourself at risk? Not only can your internet service provider see every website you visit, hackers can see your transaction details, strangers can monitor your children's activity, and your information can be exploited without your knowledge. That's why you need NordVPN. NordVPN uses military-grade security protocols that protect your information so no one can see what you do online. In just a few clicks, you can protect up to 6 devices for just $4 per month. Don't risk being hacked. Install NordVPN and protect yourself from annoying ads, cyber criminals, and strangers, all while you enjoy secure streaming, ad blocking, and malware blocking benefits. For ultimate online privacy, there's only one solution: NordVPN. To get military-grade security for the whole family on up to 6 devices from just $4 per month, visit NordVPN.com/TV today.
American Dynasties, The Kennedys, Sundays at 9 on CNN.
Well, Tiger Woods is the main attraction at the Masters, but the other co-favorite topping the leaderboard.
Coy Wire has more in this morning's Bleacher Report. Good morning, Coy.
Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Dave. There aren't many sure things in life, but Jordan Spieth holding the lead at the Masters is close. Of his 17 career rounds at Augusta National, he's held at least a share of the lead after 9 of them, and he was on fire on the back 9 yesterday, taking only 10 putts on the back 9. He made 5 straight birdies. That's a career best for him in majors. He was runner-up at the Masters in 2014 and 16, won it all in 2015. Yesterday, he finished a 6 under, 66 with a 2-shot lead heading into today's second round.
I think quick starts are important in any event. It's not unique to the Masters at all. It's any tournament. If you get off to a good start, you're in control of your own fate versus, needing a little bit of help.
Tiger Woods appeared frustrated at times, calling some of his shots terrible during his first round. He could have easily let the round slip away, but I got it back, he said. He's 7 strokes behind the lead after shooting a 73. That's 1 stroke better than his opening round the last time he won the Masters in 2005.
I played in a major championship again, but also the fact that I got myself back in this tournament. And I could have easily let it slip away, and I fought hard to get back in there, and now I'm right back in this championship. I know there's a lot of holes that we played.
What in the world happened to the defending champ? Sergio Garcia had to use a half a dozen golf balls on the 15th hole alone, hitting 5 consecutive shots into the water. He scored a 13 on the par 5. That's the worst score ever on that hole at the Masters. Just last year, he had an eagle on this hole. It took him just 3 strokes, helping to propel him into a playoff before he won the green jacket. The 38-year-old Spaniard finished the day with a 9 over 81. That's the worst opening round score ever by a defending champ at the Masters. Tune in to CNN tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 Eastern for All Access at Augusta, a CNN Bleacher Report special. I am told Hines Ward does a Tiger Woods impression, a Ricky Fowler impression. I hear his golf game, though, is more like Sergio Garcia out there on the golf course.
Well, at least on the
fighting words, right?
He has a beautiful stroke.
I'm sure
he has a lot of practice.
That is 1 more than Costner and Tin Cup on the 18th, I believe. I think Tin Cup was a 12. Sergio a 13. Just for those fact-checking.
Stuff movies are made of.
All right, thank you, Coy. Appreciate it. Ahead, President Trump backing his embattled EPA boss, doubling down on China tariffs and tossing out the script in a freewheeling West Virginia speech intended to focus on tax reform. This is all in the last 24 hours. Stay tuned. Buckle up.
What pushes us further than our best?
Is it the competition? Or a personal test?
Or perhaps it's a hybrid of both. Your best is always ahead.
Because better is a never-ending quest.
Introducing the all-new Accord Hybrid. Now, North American Car of the Year for 2018.
This
is my body of proof.
Proof of less joint pain.
And clearer skin.
This is my body of proof that I can take on psoriatic arthritis.
With Humira.
Humira works by targeting and helping to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to both joint and skin symptoms. It's proven to help relieve pain, stop further joint damage, and clear skin in many adults. Humira is the #1 prescribed biologic for psoriatic arthritis.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Want more proof? Ask your rheumatologist about Humira.
What's your body of proof?
It's a little something I've done every night since I was a kid. Empty my pocket change into this old jar. It's never much, just what's left after I break $1. And I never thought I could get quality life insurance with my spare change.
Neither did I, until I saw a commercial for the Colonial Penn program. Imagine people our age getting life insurance at such an affordable rate.
It's true. If you're 50 to 85, you can get guaranteed acceptance life insurance through the Colonial Penn program for less than 35 cents a day, just $9.95 a month. There's no medical exam and no health questions. You know, the average cost of a funeral is over $8,300. Now that's a big burden to leave your loved ones. Add to that credit card balances and final medical bills, and you've got plenty of reasons to call for free information about this valuable coverage. It's easy and affordable to help cover your final expenses through the Colonial Penn program. As long as you're 50 to 85, you cannot be turned down because of your health. Your premium never goes up, and your benefit never goes down due to age. Plus, your coverage builds cash value over time, money you can borrow against. So don't wait. Call now for free information and a free gift.
All I did was make a phone call, and all of my questions about the Colonial Penn program were answered.
It couldn't have been any easier, and we both got the coverage we should have had for years now.
With change to spare.
Call 1-800-416-8883 for free information about this valuable life insurance. That's 1-800-416-8883. Or visit our website at colonialpenn.com. There's no risk. That number again is 1-800-416-8883. The call is free, and so is this handy beneficiary planner. So call or click now.
How do you win at business? Stay at La Quinta, where we're changing with contemporary makeovers. Then use the ultimate power handshake, the upper hander with a double palm grab. Who has the upper hand now? Start winning today. Book now at lq.com.
As an allergy sufferer, you're wired differently. Nasacort is different too. Unlike antihistamines, it targets more of the allergic inflammation that causes your congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms for 24-hour relief. Nasacort stops more of what makes you miserable.
President Trump with big praise for scandal-plagued but very effective EPA Chief Scott Pruitt. Will that prove the political kiss of death?
You know, this was going to be my remarks. It would have taken about 2 minutes, but what the hell?
President Trump tosses the script and ignores key facts on voter fraud, immigration, and more.
And the president ups the ante in his trade standoff with China. How will Beijing respond this time to his new tariff talk? I think that tossing of the script the president did symbolic of all of these issues. He's thrown out the playbook. He's campaigning. He's going full Sinatra, having it my way. Welcome back to Early Start. I'm Dave Briggs.
And I'm Renee Marsh. It is 30 minutes past the hour, and President Trump is standing firmly behind Scott Pruitt this morning, even as controversies mount around the embattled EPA administrator. Now, Pruitt has arguably been the cabinet appointment most effective at carrying out the president's deregulation agenda. Returning from an event in West Virginia yesterday, the president was asked if he still has confidence in Pruitt.
I think that Scott has done a fantastic job. I think he's a fantastic person. I just left coal and energy country. They love Scott Pruitt. They feel very strongly about Scott Pruitt, and they love Scott Pruitt.
Well, the president's backing is so strong, sources tell CNN he floated replacing Attorney General Jeff Sessions with Scott Pruitt as recently as this week. Sessions, a target of the president ever since he recused himself from the Russia investigation. Now, the president has endorsed Pruitt despite negative headlines and new allegations he sidelined top aides who pushed back on his spending. More now from CNN's Sarah Ganim in Washington.
Good morning, Renee and Dave. The bad headlines continuing for EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt. This time reports that he sidelined or demoted multiple senior officials after they pushed back or raised concerns about his pricey travel, his office furniture spending, and his overall management of the agency. Two sources with direct knowledge of the matter told CNN that both career and political appointees who disagreed with Pruitt were iced out, a story that was first reported by the New York Times. In one case, an official was reassigned when he refused to drive Pruitt through town with lights and sirens to help him avoid heavy Washington traffic. Others were simply raising concerns about his spending, his frequent trips home to Oklahoma, and his international trips that cost thousands of dollars to the taxpayers, but included a lot of leisure time. This, of course, all adds to a list of ethics issues that are piling up on Pruitt in the last few days, including a sweetheart deal that he received, a $50 per night apartment in the city, leading some top White House officials to grow frustrated with him. But the most important White House official, President Trump, has so far indicated that he is still backing Pruitt, at least for now. Renee and Dave.
Thank you, Sarah. President Trump threatening $100 billion in new tariffs on Chinese exports. That's stoking fears of a trade war and rattling markets once again. The president put this statement out late yesterday, saying, quote, in light of China's unfair retaliation, I have instructed the United States trade rep to consider whether $100 billion of additional tariffs would be appropriate. Earlier this week, the Trump administration announced $50 billion worth of tariffs on Chinese exports. China immediately retaliated, threatening tariffs on 106 American products. That's what the president is calling unfair. And he telegraphed his latest move at an event yesterday in West Virginia, calling China out for its unfair trade practices.
We're at a point where we had to do this. Our economy's strong. Our jobs are great. We're going to come out with numbers on Friday that hopefully are going to be fantastic numbers. Companies are doing really well, and you have to go after the people that aren't treating you right.
The potential for more tariffs sent stock futures sinking. The Dow set to fall about 200 points at the open, but Asian markets mostly shrugged off this move. The National Retail Federation slamming President Trump's threat, and Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse calls these tariffs, quote, nuts.
Well, during a tax reform roundtable in West Virginia on Thursday, the president tossed out his prepared remarks. Literally. Take a look.
You know, this was going to be my remarks. It would have taken about 2 minutes, but what the hell? That would have been a little boring. A little boring. Now I'm reading off the first paragraph. I said, this is boring. Come on, we have to tell it like it is.
Well, after going off script as he talked about tax reform, the president then ad-libbed on a host of other topics, including border security, anchor babies, and voter fraud. Now, CNN Politics digital director Zach Wolf joins us live now from Washington this morning. Good morning, Zach. Let's talk about throwing out the script. I mean, the Republicans want him to talk about their wins, which includes tax reform, but instead he talked about that for a little bit and then switched the subject. Take a listen.
And remember my opening remarks at Trump Tower when I opened. Everybody said, oh, he was so tough. And I used the word rape. And yesterday it came out where this journey coming up, women are raped at levels that nobody's ever seen before. They don't want to mention that. So we have to change our laws. Many places, like California, the same person votes many times. You probably heard about that. They always like to say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Not a conspiracy theory, folks. Millions and millions of people.
So, Zach, if you will, for us, please, a quick fact check and then bigger picture. I mean, many Republicans I think now are fearing that he could be doing some political damage because he is not focusing on their win, which is tax reform.
Yeah, well, let's go a quick fact check. There's no evidence that people in California voted repeatedly. There's no evidence of that. He had a whole commission that he created, even though there was no evidence of it. They didn't find any evidence of it. There's no evidence of that. So, you know, he keeps bringing it up and feeding this conspiracy theory, and it is a conspiracy theory. And then on the other soundbite that you played there, when he used the word rape in his kickoff announcement, he was calling Mexicans rapists. Let's not forget that. I mean, or whitewash it. Does he now believe that again? Did he ever stop believing it? It's kind of a remarkable thing for him to say, you know, suddenly bring up and say, well, I was right, without any evidence. It's stunning, you know. So that's kind of the fact checking of that. Let's not forget those two things are wrong. But then the broader issue is he's sort of returning to or becoming this Trump who won't be tethered by what people want him to say. I mean, this is a good example of that. Yes.
You know, I said earlier that he's going full Sinatra, doing it my way, but maybe he's going full Sergio Garcia, stepping up to the 15th in good position and just hitting ball after ball after ball in the water and leaving him out of the tournament that early. But the president won this way on the campaign. If he gets his wall, if he gets China to renegotiate on trade, if he gets these wins, doesn't it work for him throwing out the script?
Not if people are totally distracted by the words that are coming out of his mouth, or, you know, thinking about his scandal-laden EPA secretary. You know, the wins are only good if you can talk about the wins and not the other sort of weather that you've created around yourself. And it's going to be harder for him to get wins if people are talking about those other things.
Quickly, Scott Pruitt, he's sticking by Scott Pruitt. You know, he called him a fantastic guy. But let's listen to what he said just a short time ago yesterday when he was asked about whether he had confidence in Pruitt.
I think that Scott has done a fantastic job. I think he's a fantastic person.
Well, you know, traditionally that thinking he's a fantastic person has been a kiss of death. Here are a few people that the president has called either fantastic or good people. Take a listen, Zach.
Michael Flynn, General Flynn, is a wonderful man.
Reince is a good man.
We'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon, but he's a good person.
The Secretary Price is a good man.
Done a great job. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Rex is a very good man.
So we don't know what will happen with Pruitt, but as far as Trump's base goes, do they care more about draining the swamp, or do they care more about the job that Pruitt's been doing as far as deregulation?
I'm not sure it's an either or. Proposition there. And all those clips you played, that was from right before those people were fired. So being a good man is no level of job security in the Trump administration. So I don't think for Trump, he doesn't want to be the guy who cowers in the face of bad headlines. He doesn't like to, give in to what people say he should do. So I think that probably is a good thing for Pruitt. On the other hand, this is a lot of bad press.
It is indeed, though. Press this morning, the Wall Street Journal editorial says if there's been a more consequential cabinet official than Pruitt, we haven't seen him. He's done everything the president has asked. On the other hand, the president watches his favorite network to determine what he does with cabinet officials. This was said late last night on Fox.
If that's your standard for ethics, then you are the swamp. Then if your standard for ethics are, I like the things that he does, therefore I don't care about the ethics, if that's where you are, then you're the triple swamp. You are all of the swamp.
If that's your standard for ethics, you are the swamp. Can he survive all this?
It's a very open question. I'm out of the prediction business in the Trump era, and have been for a long time. So I think there's arguments on both sides, and Trump is not going to want to kowtow. But on the other hand, it's hard to see how somebody gets through this many mini scandals that add up over and over again.
If I'm a betting man, he stays. This guy has gotten it done for the president, but time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see.
Zach Wolf, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, President Trump finally broke his silence about his alleged affair with adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Aboard Air Force One Thursday, the president said he knew nothing about the $130,000 hush payment his lawyer made to Daniels. Listen. Cohen paid Daniels out of his own pocket, he says, to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Daniels and her lawyer claim the agreement isn't valid. Last night, Daniels' lawyer, Michael Avenatti, told Anderson Cooper the president's new comment greatly improves their legal standing, allowing Daniels and her attorney to actually depose the president.
It's like Christmas and Hanukkah all rolled into one. You can't have an agreement if one party claims they knew nothing about one of the principal terms of the agreement. So the president has just shot himself in the foot, thrown his attorney, basically, Michael Cohen, under the bus in the process.
Avenatti says he looks forward to, quote, testing the truthfulness of the president's claims. Avenatti always has something to fire back at this president.
He certainly does. Well, coming up, Facebook, the apology tour, it's not over yet. As the company's data privacy scandal continues to grow, so does the mea culpas. We'll get all that on CNN Money next.
Plus, we're live in Beijing as we await China's reaction to President Trump's new tariff threat.
Bear Marquee presents It's Got Potential.
I think it'll look really good without the stripes.
Whatever your home may hand you, bear through it in one coat. Bear Marquee, #1 rated interior paint. Find it exclusively at the Home Depot.
Jane, this is Jim from OnStar. I've contacted help, and they're on their way.
Okay.
Don't worry. I'm going to stay with you until help arrives.
Thank you. Dear, it just came out of nowhere.
As you know, we all hate dogs.
Oh, boy. From the imagination of Wes Anderson, Isle of Dogs is genuinely funny.
Where's that trash tram taking you?
You think we booked this ride to a travel agent?
It's astonishing and touching. Really?
Will you help the little pilot?
Why should I?
Because he's a 12-year-old boy. Dogs love those.
It's a triumph of pure imagination.
Dog lovers everywhere, unite!
Startlingly beautiful. 4 stars. Wow. Isle of Dogs. Rated PG-13.
Let's get started. Show of hands. Who wants customizable options chains? Ones that make it fast and easy to analyze and take action. How about some of the lowest options fees? Are you raising your hand? Good. And it's time for Power E-Trade, the platform price and service that gives you the edge you need. All right, one quick game of rock, paper, scissors. 1, 2, 3, go. E-Trade, the original place to invest online.
Managing blood sugar isn't a marathon. It's a series of smart choices, like using Glucerna to replace one meal or snack a day. Only Glucerna has Carb Steady, unique blends of slow-release carbs to help manage blood sugar. Every meal, every craving. It's the choices you make when managing blood sugar that are the real victories. Glucerna, everyday progress.
Allergy sufferers, this is truly noteworthy. For all-day, all-night relief, there's Zysol. It's just as effective at hour 24 as at hour 1. Now try it free for 10 days. Be wise all and get your free sample at Zysol.com.
American Dynasties, The Kennedys, Sundays at 9 on CNN.
Guys, this may be the last time you ever have to think about hair loss. Because I'm telling you, Bosley is the real deal. They're giving men their hair back permanently. They're real hair. All it takes to get started on the hair gain train is a single text message. You'll get an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card when you text FREE to 654-654. Check them out now. Bosley will show you for free how great your hair could look. Dude, this isn't your dad's hair loss treatment. People all over the country trust Bosley because they're America's #1 hair restoration expert, ahead of the curve with the latest technology. And the best part, Bosley's solution is permanent. You're going to love what they'll do for your hair. So drop what you're doing long enough to send a text. Get your free information kit and gift card for $250 off by texting FREE to 654-654. Don't forget, that's FREE to 654-654.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by InventHelp. Call 1-800-900-0202.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Then call InventHelp now for free information.
President Trump is threatening $100 billion in new tariffs on Chinese exports. That is on top of the $50 billion in tariffs already announced this week. The tariffs and threats of tariffs stoking fears of a trade war and rattling markets, sending stock futures sinking. But how is China responding to the latest tariff threats? We go to CNN's Ivan Watson. He is live in Beijing this morning. It sounds like they still are planning on putting up a fight.
Yeah, they haven't given any countermeasures yet, but they have denounced President Trump's threat of tariffs on $100 billion worth of Chinese goods, calling it a provocation, going on to say, quote, "We do not want to fight a trade war, but we're not afraid of it. If the U.S. disregards the opposition of China and the international community, the Chinese side will follow through to the end and will not hesitate to fight back at any cost." Now, if President Trump follows through on his threat and applies tariffs on $150 billion worth of Chinese goods, that's almost 40% of Chinese exports to the U.S. The U.S. is China's biggest export market. In previous rounds of this tit-for-tat conflict, China has singled out big sectors of the U.S. economy for tariffs, and that has alarmed some voices defending agriculture in the U.S., among them Senator Ben Sasse. He's a Republican, he's from Nebraska, and he put out a statement which was pretty critical of President Trump, saying if even he's half serious, this is nuts. He's threatening to light American agriculture on fire. A lot of this may still be posturing. There have been calls in the past for negotiations, but as the rhetoric escalates, it makes it harder for both Beijing and Washington to back down, putting us more at risk of a real trade war.
And that's
Renee,
something
Dave?
that obviously farmers, businesses don't want. Thanks, Ivan.
I was going to check on CNN Money this morning. Fears of a trade war rattling investors yet again. Stock market futures pointing down, although they are off the lows. Asian markets mostly shrugging off the move. European markets slightly lower. Some investors are betting the threats are just a negotiating ploy that won't actually result in a full-blown trade war. The March jobs report could have even more volatility. It's due in about 2.5 hours, and economists predict 185,000 jobs were created. Bit of a slowdown from February, still, though, would mark the 90th straight month of job creation, a historic run of 7.5 years. The jobless rate could also dip to 4%, a fresh 17-year low. Wall Street watching how fast wages grew. 2.7% is the prediction. Anything stronger could raise fears of inflation and higher interest rates. Facebook's apology tour making more stops. In a PBS interview, Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg admitted big mistakes.
We were very focused for the last 10 years on building social experiences. And those are important. Those are why your friends know it's your birthday, why you can share playlists. But we were not focused enough on the possible misuses of data.
This week, Facebook revealed its data scandal was even bigger than originally thought. Trump campaign consultants may have accessed info of 87 million users without their consent. CEO Mark Zuckerberg testifies next week on Capitol Hill. All eyes on Tuesday and Wednesday on Capitol Hill in your neck of the woods in D.C. That'll be fascinating.
That's right. That's right. And coming up, the Trump administration ready to slap Russian oligarchs with sanctions. We are live in Moscow next.
And a narrow escape for some construction workers. The story behind this stunning video straight ahead.
Almost there.
She's coming. My video call's lagging. Mom.
Hold up. We got a laggy video call here. You need Verizon, the best network for streaming. Here, trade you. Okay, people, that's a reset.
You want us to surprise her again?
Yeah, but like in a fun way, like this.
All of my favorite friends are here. There's Tony and Diane.
Like something like that.
Get up to 50% off our best phones, like the Samsung Galaxy S9 and the Google Pixel 2, because unlimited is only as good as the network it's on.
Chappaquiddick is one of the best films of 2018, with a thrilling screenplay brilliantly brought to life.
A dead body holds a lot of secrets.
Edge of your seat absorbing.
What the hell happened to you? I'm not going to be president.
Chappaquiddick, rated PG-13.
Weeds, nature's boomerang. At Roundup, we know they keep coming back. Draw the line. One spray of Roundup Max Control 365 kills to the root and keeps weeds away for up to 1 year. Roundup, trusted for over 40 years.
Party jumping until the morning, feeling free. Guess who's back? Yours truly, Mr. Independent. Welcome to the new me. Nothing like freedom. I love to be free. World takeover. Times 3. Cause ain't nobody ready to go. We gon' keep it going on.
Book now and choose up to 5 free offers, including friends and family sail free. Norwegian Cruise Line. Feel free.
This was a war against religion. The Vatican knew what was going on.
This was a Christian society that could live with this.
The question is what we think the Pope should have done.
Pope, Sunday at 10 on CNN.
Time for new reading glasses? Go to readers.com. With more than 700 styles to choose from, in powers ranging from 1.0 to 7.0. Readers.com also has readers hard to find in stores, like bifocals, sun readers, and computer readers. Choose from hundreds of fashionable styles and colors for under $20. Then just type in this coupon code at checkout, and you'll save up to 40% through this exclusive TV offer. Order now and we'll quickly deliver your readers right to your door. Plus, all of our readers are absolutely worry-free because they're backed by our 100% happiness guarantee. Save up to 40%. Get convenient, fast delivery and a 100% happiness guarantee. So go online to readers.com to find your perfect pair of reading glasses for under $20. Don't miss this exclusive TV offer to save up to 40% now. Go to readers.com and enter this coupon code at checkout. That's readers.com.
New day, the most news in the morning. Up next on CNN.
When you rent a car on Turo, you're renting from a real person. No shuttle rides, no waiting in line, and no wandering a car lot. This is your rental counter. And this is you, already on the road. With Turo, this is compact, standard, and full size. This is better than your typical car rental. This is Turo. Download the app today.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clear skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. Otezla may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Tell your doctor if these occur. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Other side effects include upper respiratory tract infection and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
5:55 Eastern, the White House about to make its next move, and it's a bold one in the ongoing diplomatic skirmish with Russia. Sources say the Trump administration could announce sanctions as soon as today against several people with close ties to Vladimir Putin in connection with their alleged interference in the 2016 presidential election. CNN's Matthew Chance live in Moscow with the latest. This would be one bold step if in fact true. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, Dave. That's right. It's being characterized as potentially the most aggressive step that the Trump administration will have made against Russian oligarchs, Russian businessmen, business leaders, as they like to characterize them here. We don't know exactly how many people will be sanctioned. We understand it will be several. The idea, of course, is to punish Russia for its alleged meddling in the 2016 presidential election and sanctioning those business leaders or oligarchs that are close to Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, is one way of doing that. We also know that a number of Russian oligarchs have been questioned in the Mueller investigation for allegedly illegally funding the Trump campaign and the Trump inauguration. So that may well qualify them for inclusion on this sanctions list as well. But of course, it all comes at a time of growing tension between Russia and the West. Dave.
Matthew Chance, live in Moscow. Thanks.
Well, we have some stunning video this morning to show you a tower crane being used to build the new police headquarters in St. Petersburg, Florida. Well, yeah, you're seeing it. It collapses, sending workers literally running for their lives. Security video captured the massive crane about 10 stories high falling over on Thursday, just barely missing some of the construction workers on the ground. Thankfully, yeah, no one was hurt.
Incredibly, and almost no damage. Okay, Virgin Galactic successfully launched its rocket-powered Spaceship Two on a supersonic flight. It's the company's first rocket-powered flight since a crash in 2014, destroyed an earlier model and killed all of its pilots. The Spaceship Two took off from Mojave Air and Spaceport in California to an altitude of more than 46,000 feet before separating from its mothership and firing up its own rocket. The test puts Richard Branson's aerospace company another step closer to its goal of space tourism. Some really cool video.
Yeah, and new this morning, UFC star Conor McGregor charged overnight with 3 counts of assault and 1 count of criminal mischief after he allegedly attacked a bus with rival fighters on board. Yeah, you're looking at allegedly. The video there. Yeah, good point. Well, it happened at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. McGregor and his entourage reportedly crashed the press event and then attacked a minibus using trash cans and metal barricades. UFC President Dana White says that one fighter suffered head and facial cuts from broken glass. McGregor was apparently upset with the decision to strip him of his lightweight title belt. McGregor is expected in court later on this morning.
Yikes. Seattle Mariners lefty James Paxton giving new meaning to the term big game pitcher. Paxton minding his business in the outfield when this happened. A bald eagle swoops in. The bird went rogue on a pregame fly-in ceremony during the national anthem in Minnesota Thursday. Paxton, though, keeping his cool like this was intended. The eagle landed on him, flew off, and landed again on him. The bird's handler's not sure what went wrong or what cologne Paxton was wearing that attracted the eagle. But, hey, did he play it cool, right? How would you handle that?
I would not have been that cool. I mean, the wingspan alone on that thing would have freaked me out.
Let alone the talons. Well played by the Mariners pitcher. All right, that'll do it for us, folks.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Renee Marsh.
I'm Dave Briggs. New Day starts right now. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good weekend.
This is another step in the wrong direction. We will certainly fight back.
President Trump threatening another wave of steep tariffs on Chinese exports.
There's no trade war here. We don't have any tariffs enacted yet.
I think that Scott has done a fantastic job.
This is the president who promised to drain the swamp. It is not behavior consistent with that pledge.
I did not know that they get the pay raises until yesterday.
Look, are you embarrassed that
it should not have happened? It should not have happened.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
No. The president has just shot himself in the foot. We knew sooner or later he was going to crack.
We should expect this president will be forced to give testimony under oath.
This is New Day with Chris Cuomo and Allison Camerata.
We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. This is New Day. It is Friday, April 6th, 6 o'clock here in New York. Chris is off this morning. David Gregory joins me. Happy Friday.
Still blurry-eyed. You do this every day? Every morning?
Wow. And it does start at 6.
It's been great.
It's great to have you. Here's our starting line. We begin with breaking news. President Trump amping up the rhetoric, now threatening China with an additional $100 billion in tariffs. Beijing is vowing to fight the U.S., quote, at any cost. So we'll discuss who has more to lose in this escalating feud. And the White House facing an ethics scandal involving the president's cabinet. Sources tell CNN that officials at the EPA were demoted or sidelined after they raised questions about Secretary Scott Pruitt's spending and conduct. Despite Pruitt's mounting ethical issues, CNN has learned that President Trump floated the idea of having Pruitt replace Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
And because there wasn't enough going on, President Trump is now breaking his silence on Stormy Daniels. And now it could have legal implications. The president saying he did not know about the $130,000 hush payment to the porn star made by his personal attorney, Michael Cohen. And President Trump literally tosses out the script, feeding his base plenty of red meat in the process, resurrecting some of his greatest fact-free hits and debunked claims. We've got a lot to cover this morning. We're going to begin with CNN's Ivan Watson, live in Beijing with our top story. Ivan, good morning.
Good morning. That's right. The Chinese government is calling President Trump's threat for more tariffs a provocation. It's been such a bumpy week in bilateral trade relations. Let's go back and look. On Monday, China imposed $3 billion tariffs on $3 billion worth of U.S. goods in retaliation for U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. The next day, the U.S. threatened tariffs on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods for alleged intellectual property theft. Then the next day, China responded, threatening tariffs on $50 billion worth of U.S. goods. And now President Trump has threatened tariffs on another $100 billion worth of Chinese goods. The U.S. is China's biggest export market. This would amount to, if he follows through on the threat, hurting up to 40% of China's exports to the U.S. But the Chinese threats are threatening some important sectors of the U.S. economy, including agriculture. Soybean exports, for example, last year amounted to $14 billion of business for U.S. farmers selling to China. And this is alarming some voices, such as Senator Ben Sasse, a Nebraska Republican, who put out this very critical statement saying that hopefully the president is just blowing off steam again. But if even he's half serious, this is nuts. Let's absolutely take on Chinese bad behavior, but with a plan that punishes them instead of us. This is the dumbest possible way to do this. President Xi Jinping has changed the Constitution, making him potentially leader of China for life. President Trump doesn't have that luxury, and he may anger some key parts of his base. Dave?
Ivan, thanks very much. The White House, meantime, also embroiled in a series of controversies as the president stands by the embattled head of the EPA. CNN's Abby Phillip, live at the White House this morning with that part of the story. Good morning, Abby.
Good morning, David. This White House is battling one scandal after another when it comes to EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt. For now, the president is standing by Pruitt. He's happy with the job he's been doing over at the EPA. But the question is, how many more scandals can this White House sustain, and how long can Pruitt hold on to that job?
I think that Scott has done a fantastic job. I think he's a fantastic person.
President Trump defending scandal-ridden EPA chief Scott Pruitt, telling reporters that despite a growing list of controversies, he thinks Pruitt will be fine. CNN learned Thursday that multiple senior officials were sidelined or demoted at the agency after raising concerns about Pruitt's pricey travel, office spending, and management of the agency. Allegations and EPA spokesman disputes. Separately, multiple sources tell CNN that after Pruitt took over at the EPA, he asked his 24/7 detail chief to use the lights and sirens to avoid traffic. After telling Pruitt no, that agent was reassigned. Also under scrutiny, a massive pay hike totaling more than $80,000 for two of Pruitt's closest aides. The Washington Post reporting that Pruitt endorsed the raises last month, despite having said that he was not aware of the raises until this week.
Did you go around the president and the White House to give pay raises to two staffers?
I did not. My staff did, and I found out about that yesterday, and I changed it.
Pruitt also coming under fire for renting a D.C. condo for just $50 a night from a lobbyist who donated money to his past political campaign. President Trump was asked if he was bothered about these reports.
I have to look at it in close. You know, I hear different versions of it, but I'll make that determination.
Sources close to the president tell CNN that as recently as this week, the president floated the idea of replacing Attorney General Jeff Sessions with Pruitt.
No, Scott's doing a great job where he is.
This as President Trump breaks his silence on his alleged affair with Stormy Daniels and the payment to keep her quiet days before the election.
Do you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
No.
Why did Michael Cohen make this if there was no truth to her allegations?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's an attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael Cohen.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
I don't know. No.
Daniels' attorney telling CNN Trump's comments help his case.
You can't have an agreement if one party claims they knew nothing about one of the principal terms of the agreement. So the president has just shot himself in the foot, thrown his attorney, basically, Michael Cohen, under the bus in the process.
The president escaping these controversies at a speech in West Virginia. Mr. Trump literally tossed out his prepared remarks about tax reform.
That would have been a little boring.
Choosing instead to resurrect some of the unproven immigration rhetoric he used on the campaign trail.
Everybody said, oh, he was so tough, and I used the word rape. And yesterday it came out where this journey coming up, women are raped at levels that nobody's ever seen before.
Well, the president has announced that he wants to send between 2,000 and 4,000 National Guard troops to the border. But this is all happening at a time when relationships with Mexico right now are getting worse and worse by the day, not helped at all by the president's own rhetoric. He also has no public events today. However, Sarah Sanders is going to brief the press this afternoon, and there are a lot of questions, Allison and David.
Yes, there are. Thank you, Abby, very much. Let's bring in our analysts. We have CNN political analysts John Avlon and Brian Karam. Great to see both of you. Morning. All right, so the new tariffs that the president is proposing, the $150 billion new tariffs on China, I'm not sure that this is what Larry Kudlow meant a couple days ago by de-escalating.
It would seem to be the opposite, right?
My dictionary.
I mean, this is what he went. The markets were quelled after his advisors came on and said, this is just a negotiating tactic. We're going to de-escalate things. And then the president does this.
Yeah, those two things would be in contradiction. I mean, look, Larry Kudlow's insisting the president's a free trader, and I think the president's supporters have a point. No one's gotten tough with China. Maybe this kind of brinksmanship is necessary to reset our relationship. Fine. The problem is the escalation that people worried about seems to be occurring, and those things can get out of control very quickly.
They may already have gotten out of control.
Right, but there is another side to this, which is you obviously saw the president spooked by what's happening in the markets, and so they want to tone this down and say, oh, you know, this is really just negotiation, which it still may be. There's something in the criticism about all of this that is perfect for Trump, which is that the establishment doesn't like his way of approaching China, which would only fuel him to do it his way, which is to rattle things.
I think we're overanalyzing it. I think the president speaks off the cuff, and now without the breaker there, which was Hope Hicks, you're seeing the staff come in afterwards and going, okay, this is what he really meant. This is what we're really doing, and we're going to have to back off.
Well, there may be some impulsivity, but this is a consistent point of view on trade.
He's been consistent in his point of view. That's true. Yeah. But speaking to what he's been doing in the last few days, I think, you know, they've described him as being unhinged. And I would say it's really hard to be unhinged if you've never been hinged. So this is just, you're seeing people that were able to put a damper on him, keep him from saying stuff. Now they can't, and now you're right. Yeah. It's the consistency.
But there are no tariffs actually in place.
No, there's
no. And these But the point is that this would cover much more of the waterfront for China than the impact on the United States.
It would hurt China more.
China exports more to the United States than we import from China. But the problem is that we do have a real imbalance. They have also a very different situation in China than when Trump began his anti-China rhetoric. Xi now has basically lifetime power. They have a surplus. And look, I think the president probably doing the right thing by going after, for example, IP theft. It is rampant. It is incredibly dangerous to American companies and hasn't been addressed. But this kind of brinksmanship, what's fascinating is how much of the impact would end up
hurting Trump's base.
Well, let's talk about that because it's been very interesting to hear what conservative lawmakers from the Midwest, those who support the president, are saying about this. So here's a compilation of those. For instance, Congressman Steve King of Iowa. They are not as concerned about trade deficits as they are by this emerging trade war, talking about his voters. Okay. Then there's Senator Pat Roberts. It's just a very unfortunate outlook that we have protection. An intrinsic belief in protectionism. Okay, there it is. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa. I need for him to understand that we're hurting in the Midwest and this is not helping. Okay, so they're already getting nervous.
Oh, yeah.
And talking about it.
Well, the markets are nervous, too.
Yes, but what I thought was particularly interesting is you can already hear his administration, how they're going to spin it. This is not, don't blame the president about this, blame China. So listen to this.
What we have here is a situation where they've been basically punching us in the body and in the face for years. All we're doing now is self-defense, defending ourselves, and the way they expect us to react is to punch us some more and basically try to hit American farmers most directly. And I don't think the American people are going to respond very well to those kind of threats.
Okay, so it's China punching.
Yeah.
No?
Well, that's, you know, John, like you were saying earlier, this isn't, and you were saying this isn't inconsistent, and it is maybe needed. But what are the results going to be? And at the end of the day, if they can flip the blame, how long is that going to last if you're coming home with less money in your pocket and you're distressed by the policies of this president?
Well, that's
the question.
Right. This is, you know, Peter Navarro is a nationalist argument. It's a protectionist argument. You've got to be willing, you know, you can certainly set up China as the aggressor here, which there's a lot of evidence to support over the years. But as Sarah Sanders says the other day, there's going to be short-term pain. It may be more than short-term pain. I mean, what I see is a president who's got consistent thinking, but also gets incredibly jittery when the markets tank, because not only the establishment, but financial markets around the world see the prospect of a trade war and get completely spooked to the point of correction territory. So is he going to stick by it and absorb the pain?
Probably not.
This is a president who's taken a lot of comfort from the fact that the stock market has surged since he was elected.
Right.
That has buoyed his approval ratings. But at the end of the day, what he should be most concerned about is impact on Main Street, not Wall Street. And that's what a lot of these retaliatory tariffs would target.
That's what got him elected as well. It was that underlying angst with American government that he tapped into very successfully. And can he maintain that if in fact, at the end of the day, you're living in Iowa or you're living in a red state and you're coming home with less money and you're more distressed than you were? It's going to be, you know, it's going to be James Carville in 4 years. It's the economy, stupid.
All right, let's shift gears to Scott Pruitt. Just when you think you've heard everything.
China, Scott Pruitt.
Well, I mean, truly, just when you think that you've heard all of the possible ethical entanglements that he has, there's a new one. So the New York Times is reporting that 5 of his staffers, 4 of them high-ranking aides and advisors, have been reassigned after raising questions about his spending and his management. So in other words, I mean, it sounds like retaliation against people who tried to sound an alarm that something was not ethically passing muster.
And that wasn't actually, you know, that's not news, what is being done in the EPA. Remember, when he first came into the EPA, there were scientists who were saying they were being kept from voicing their concerns and that they were being kept from putting out email and sequestered. So that's a pattern of behavior that the president still supports and says he's a fantastic man.
But here's the thing. This is the tension. You know, this president doesn't like somebody who gets this kind of negative publicity, who's stealing the spotlight from President Trump. And I mean, and these are self-inflicted wounds. I mean, this is just kind of reckless behavior on the part of the EPA administrator.
Corruption.
But at the same time, he's a hero among conservatives for what he's doing at the EPA, which I'm not sure President Trump cares about as much, but he's certainly happy to have that level of support.
Well, he said that coming back from West Virginia yesterday. That was his defense of Pruitt. He's a hero in coal country. What he means is he's a hero to the industries the EPA has traditionally regulated. Yeah. Right? He's a hero to those folks.
To the robber barons.
Yeah,
that's who they...
Yeah, I mean, however you want to characterize it, he is very good for the industry, and our environmental advocates, not so much. But I think that's also what's interesting. You've got a series of patterns at this point, stories that are clearly abuse of power, arrogance of power, shady behavior. Now, we know that the lobbyist he was renting the sweetheart deal $50 a night apartment from was, in fact, their family was lobbying the EPA, contrary to their original statement. And then this pattern of punishing people who are dissenting inside the organization, all against the larger backdrop of policies, whether you approach it from ideological agenda or not, silencing people who are experts in scientific agencies, saying they can't use the terms climate change. That's objectively troubling.
Well, that worries us, but that doesn't worry. I mean, you were right, Dave. At the end of the day, don't overanalyze it either. This is the President of the United States who doesn't like people stealing his thunder. Right. That's what it boils down to. How much thunder is he going to allow Scott to steal from him before he jettisons another fantastic
But so the question
man?
is, can he survive? Because what he's got is someone who's extremely popular with his political base, with the business base that the EPA regulates, and he could use a Trumpian tactic, which is to say, this is overblown. I'll stick by him. And who's gonna topple him?
And the president could change his mind 30 seconds from now and be looking for a new EPA director.
Right.
All right. Well, stay tuned, as we like to say. Brian Karem, John Avalon, thank you both very much. Now to this. Stormy Daniels' attorney believes his case just got much stronger after President Trump denied knowing about any hush money payment. Did the president expose himself legally by breaking his silence? We discuss that next.
We're on a mission to show drip coffee drinkers it's time to wake up to Keurig.
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine.
How are you?
Well, watch this. I pop that in there, press brew, that's it. So rich.
I love it.
That's why you should be a Keurig man.
Full-bodied.
Are you sure you're describing the coffee and not me?
You eat healthy, take statins, but still struggle to lower your LDL bad cholesterol. You also have heart disease and fear a heart attack or stroke could strike without warning, pulling you away from everything you love. Because with high LDL, your risk of a heart attack or stroke is real. Now you can reduce that risk with Repatha. Repatha plus a statin dramatically lowers your LDL bad cholesterol by 63% and is proven to significantly drop your risk of having a devastating heart attack or stroke.
Do not take Repatha if you are allergic to it. Repatha may cause serious allergic reactions. Signs include redness, severe rash or itching, swollen face, or trouble breathing. Most common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, high blood sugar, and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site.
Don't let a heart attack or stroke come between you and everything you love. Tell your doctor you're ready to lower your LDL and reduce your risk for real with Repatha.
Pay no more than $5 per month with the Repatha copay card.
The closer you get to home, the more you know the commute is worth it. You and that John Deere tractor. You can keep dreaming up projects all the way home. It's a longer drive, but just like a John Deere, it's worth it.
So, Lionel, what does being able to trade 24/5 mean to you?
Well, it means I can trade after the market closes.
It's true.
So all evening long.
Ooh, so close. Yes, but also all
night through its entirety.
Come on, all
the time from sunset to sunrise.
Right, but you could trade
from darkness to light.
You're not gonna say it, are you?
Looking back, you've seen some amazing things. And looking forward, there's so much more to come. That's why VSP offers individual vision plans, coverage you can buy on your own. Because retirement shouldn't be the end of vision care, but a new beginning. VSP makes sure that regular eye exams are more affordable, and prescriptions, like Progressives, are done right the first time. For lifelong access to eyewear and eye care, learn more at vspdirect.com and see better for life for less.
Thank you, VSP.
Plaque psoriasis can be relentless. Your plaques are always there at the worst times, constantly interrupting you with itching, burning, and stinging. Being this uncomfortable is unacceptable. I'm ready. Tremfya works differently for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. With Tremfya, you can get clearer and stay clearer. In fact, most patients who saw 90% clearer skin at 28 weeks stayed clearer through 48 weeks. Tremfya works better than Humira at providing clearer skin, and more patients were symptom-free with Tremfya.
Tremfya may lower your ability to fight infections and may increase your risk of infections. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or have symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough. Before starting Tremfya, tell your doctor if you plan to or have recently received a vaccine.
Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Tremfya, because you deserve to stay clearer. Janssen wants to help you explore cost support options for Tremfya.
President, did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
No, no.
Why did Michael Cohen make it if there was no truth around the nation?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's an attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael Cohen.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know. No.
Amid the noise of Air Force One, President Trump issuing a firm denial, first public comments about the Stormy Daniels story and the $130,000 payment his lawyer Michael Cohen made to the adult film star days before the 2016 election. John Avlon is back with us now, and let's bring in CNN legal analyst Ariva Martin. Ariva, let me start with you. Why is this a big deal? Stormy Daniels' lawyer is saying, aha, now the president has said no, and therefore he has violated the terms of this hush agreement. Everything's off.
Well, you can't have an agreement between two parties when one party acknowledges that he didn't even have knowledge of the material terms of the agreement. So if Trump is saying he had no knowledge of the $130,000 payment, there was never a meeting of the minds between Trump and Stormy Daniels. And that's the argument that Stormy Daniels' attorney has been making throughout this entire last several months, is that this agreement is not valid. It's not valid for several reasons. One, he argued that Trump never signed the agreement, and he's been arguing that if Trump didn't know about the payment, then there was never any mutual consent between the parties. So that was a major admission by the president.
Except, Ariva, that they've never said that the agreement was with Donald Trump. I mean, Michael Cohen has said the agreement was just with Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, and that the president didn't know anything about it. So the president saying, I didn't know anything about it, confirms whatever, or at least agrees with what Michael Cohen has been saying, that he didn't know anything about it.
But one problem with that, Allison, Donald Trump joined in the lawsuit that Michael Cohen is a part of to remove the case that Stormy Daniels' lawyer filed in state court to federal court. So if you are not a party to an agreement, you have no knowledge about this agreement, why are you joining a lawsuit to enforce an agreement that you're not a party to? It makes no legal sense. And you can't have it both ways. Either you're a party to the lawsuit or you're not. And by making the statement that he had no knowledge of the payment, where the payment came from, the fact that the payment was made, he's undermining his lawyer's position, and makes it very difficult for him to move forward with the position that he's taken. And I should say, most importantly, what Stormy Daniels' lawyer really wants to do is to depose Donald Trump. So if nothing else, they've created now this big ambiguity about who knew what and when, and I can't see a judge refusing Daniels' lawyer the opportunity to have Trump and Cohen testify under oath.
John?
Look, this is a great example of the costs of shooting from the lip, and the president can't help himself, right? He's on Air Force One. He goes in to take questions. He talks about it for 25 seconds. You can tell by Trump's normal volubility, he's trying to say as little as humanly possible. Right. This is a series of no's and ask Michael Cohen's. But in that, he would seem to play into Stormy Daniels' defense, which is that if you didn't know about the contract and you didn't sign it, is it really binding? And setting up, as Ariva just said, a situation where he could be deposed. So that's a very costly, after a high degree of discipline by the president on message.
Let's talk about that timing. Why did he, after all of these weeks of silence and discipline, why did he respond?
I would not overthink it or assume there is strategy here. I think this was a moth to the flame situation. He walked back in Air Force One to a gaggle, got a question, couldn't bring himself to say nothing, said as little as possible, but in doing so said enough to create real legal
I mean,
trouble.
this is a striking aspect of the president, which is he likes to talk, he likes to be available, he likes to take questions because it's kind of a rolling conversation that he's in charge of. The problem is you become, exposed in those things, and it's very hard for him to remember, no, this one I can't answer at all. Here's the other piece. I mean, I think what Ariva said is important, which is ultimately it's the potential to depose him. That's what they want. Clearly, Stormy Daniels and her lawyers want that attention.
But a judge has already shot that down, Ariva. I mean, that's what Michael Avenatti...
He's refiling now.
No, he hasn't shot it down, Allison. He just said it was a premature request.
That's right.
He just said we have to make some other determinations before we get to that.
But today, is it... I mean, Michael Avenatti says he's refiling. Is today it's still a premature request?
Well, it's not clear that the deposition is going to happen today, but it's pretty clear to me, based on the statement that Trump made, there will be a deposition if this litigation continues. The question becomes when that will happen. The judge didn't say Trump is, not deposable or that he won't be deposed. He just said we need to make some determinations about whether this matter gets sent to private arbitration before we move forward with orders regarding discovery.
Let's just pull back for a second. I mean, to me, the striking aspect of this story is the biggest pitfall is obviously a legal pitfall. We've seen this with Clinton, which is he doesn't want to get into a point where he's deposed and if it could become part of the purview of the special counsel. The facts of the matter, I don't think anybody thinks are really in dispute despite what the president says, and I don't think anybody cares. I mean, this is the least surprising part of the Trump presidency that this might be true in terms of for voters, right, who are going to make a judgment about him.
I mean, Bill Clinton sort of birthed this argument. Nobody, everyone knew he was a bad boy. Nobody thought they were electing a saint for president, but he's someone who could get the job done. I still think objectively, let's not get too snowed in by the storm, no pun intended, that we're in terms of news cycles. The president and the porn star is a headline for the ages. He is lying about it. It also has real-world implications, not only for deposition, but for his family. So even if his core base, that 28% that's not moving no matter what, doesn't care.
It's not just the base. We have polls that show that 70%, I think, of Americans believe that this happened, but everybody's moving along with their daily business.
Life's going to go on. Life went on during the Lewinsky scandal, too. But I do think this is going to have real-world implications that continue to cascade, even if people are baking it into the cake.
Speaking about moving on.
Let's do that. Wow. Masterful.
Yeah.
Ariva, thank you. John, thank you very much.
Thank
Coming
you,
up in our
guys.
next hour, we will speak live with Stormy Daniels' lawyer, Michael Avenatti. We'll get him to answer all of these questions.
Also, UFC star Conor McGregor arrested after going on a rampage at a media event in New York. We've got details on that coming up.
You know the date in November, but you don't know the whole story of the Kennedy family in the days and hours after the death of a president.
The Kennedys, new episode, Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Today's workplace is rapidly changing, and HR professionals must be at the top of their game. Nothing spells that more clearly than SHRM CP and SHRM SCP, the profession's premier competency-based certifications from SHRM. Ongoing training to help you build a thriving workplace and keep your HR career on the move. SHRM CP, SHRM SCP. Credentials that say,
I am ready. Because I am.
I am.
I am SHRM certified.
Learn more at shrm.org/SHRM certified.
Enamel is the outer surface of the teeth that's white. A lot of the things that we have in our diet today can actually start to threaten the enamel and start to cause what we call acid erosion. If there's a thinning of the enamel, the teeth actually start to appear more yellow. With Pronamel, it is making your teeth harder and stronger and more resistant to wear. Start using Pronamel right away and have that be your toothpaste for the rest of your life. These are the last set of teeth that you're getting. You don't get another set. You have to protect them.
Welcome to Holiday Inn.
Thank you.
Wait, I have something for you.
Every stay is a special stay at Holiday Inn. Save up to 15% when you book early at holidayinn.com.
At Farmers, we've seen almost everything, so we know how to cover almost anything, even close claws.
We took your shortcut, which
Yeah.
was a bad idea.
I can't believe that worked.
No, I dropped the keys.
And we covered it. Talk to Farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Mike and I went on our honeymoon to Maui, and it was amazing. We were like, let's move here. So we bought a timeshare there. In 2015, we were expecting our firstborn child, and it became a lot of work just to get out of the house, let alone to Maui.
Finally, one of your friends actually told us about Timeshare Exit Team, and they were great.
Time changes everything. If your timeshare no longer fits your life, call Timeshare Exit Team today or go to timeshareexitteam.com.
It's a noisy
busy, chaotic, confusing world. If only everyone could see it more clearly. Separate fake from fact. If only we all understood what's really going on. The world needs another Economist reader. And now you can try The Economist in print, free of charge. Visit free.economist.com, call 1-855-500-0015, or text Economist to 99000.
Introducing Pulse. Broken phone? We fixed that. It couldn't be easier. We'll be there in a heartbeat 7 days a week. Check us out at pulse.com. Pulse, for the ups and downs of digital life. Introducing Pulse. New TV to install? We do that. It couldn't be easier. We'll be there in a heartbeat 7 days a week. Check us out at pulse.com. Pulse, for the ups and downs of digital life.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by InventHelp. Call 1-800-900-0202.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Then call InventHelp now for free information.
Documents reveal that special counsel Robert Mueller is using information related to searches of Paul Manafort's personal belongings now in the Russia investigation. Prosecutors obtaining a warrant to get information connected to 5 AT&T phone numbers. The information is reportedly not related to the criminal prosecutions of Manafort. The former Trump campaign chairman faces indictments in Virginia and Washington, D.C. related to his foreign lobbying business from before the campaign. He has pleaded not guilty to both cases.
And in other law enforcement news, New York City police say UFC star Conor McGregor charged with 3 counts of assault and 1 count of criminal mischief after an alleged attack. That's alleged, all right, on a bus carrying rival fighters. Video capturing McGregor throwing something through a window on the bus. Police say a passenger was injured. McGregor was arrested following the incident at Barclays Center in Brooklyn on Thursday. He's due to appear in court this morning. I mean, shocking, only, I mean, it's not exactly, this wasn't like he was part of a caravan of the New York City Ballet. I mean, these are UFC fighters. I mean, this is not like the most uncharacteristic behavior of this guy.
Well, seeing him in tights, it looks like he's a member of the New York City Ballet.
Yeah.
He could, and his...
But he was mad. He just wanted to be allowed to wobble back to his corner. Remember when he said that after the fight this summer? You weren't watching the fight this summer?
No,
Mayweather? Okay.
I wasn't. But I did hear about it.
Yeah.
This is ringing a bell. All right. President Trump goes off script, literally, and the facts are the first casualty. He again makes false claims about voter fraud and some alarming statements about migrants. We discuss all of that next.
In about 2 minutes, but
Can
I get some help?
Whatever they went through together.
Welcome, guys.
Life well planned. See what a Raymond James financial advisor can do for you.
Need a change of scenery? The Kayak Explorer tool shows you the places you can fly on your budget, so you can be confident you're getting the most bang for your buck. Aloha. Kayak. Search one and done.
Here's the story of Green Mountain Coffee Roasters Sumatra Reserve, told in the time it takes to brew your cup. Let's go to Sumatra. Where's Sumatra? Good question. This is Vin, and that's Vin's goat, Adi. The coffee here is amazing because the volcanic soil is amazing, making the coffee erupt with flavor. So we give farmers like Vin more plants to grow more delicious coffee that erupts with even more flavor, which helps provide for Vin's family. And Adi the goat's family, too, because his kids eat a lot. All for a smoother tasting cup of coffee. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, packed with goodness.
A car you can command when you're nowhere near it. Does that require mind control? No. Just some mind-blowing engineers from the Ford Motor Company and Pivotal, who developed Ford Pass, allowing you to reach out to your car from wherever you are to check your fuel level, unlock your doors, and start your engine. So when you're ready to go, your car is too. Magic can't make digital transformation happen, but we can. That's the power of Pivotal. part of Dell Technologies.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana, the new way to buy a car.
It's a great time to let go with the Samsung Spring for Something New event. Upgrade to Samsung appliances and get up to $500 back.
Tomorrow night, former Vice President Al Gore talks to Van about his political journey, from the Clinton administration to his environmental activism. Plus, director of the global mega-hit Black Panther, Ryan Coogler. The Van Jones Show, tomorrow night at 7 Eastern, only on CNN.
There is sort of a magic to it. The sunsetter comes out, and then the family comes out.
The kids are loving it. It's nice to get outside and get some fresh air and not be cooped up indoors all the time.
Before we got the sunsetter, we almost never used the patio.
If it was sunny out, we'd be inside.
Because it was just so hot.
It was nuts.
Now that we have the sunsetter, we're spending more time outdoors. And it's adjustable, so it's like a convertible room.
You just press that button, and you get as much shade or as little shade as you want.
It cools the inside of the house, too, so we're saving money with the AC.
And I do my yoga out there. It's really peaceful.
We checked on the quality of the fabrics, the motor, the warranty.
The installation was easy.
It was like the awning is coming today, and then the awning was up that afternoon.
We're saving money, we're getting outdoors.
It really has changed our lives.
Call Sunsetter now for your free idea kit, including local dealer info. Call now and we'll also send this $200 savings certificate so you can get a Sunsetter for as little as $5.99, but only for a limited time. Call 1-800-213-4204. 1-800-213-4204.
Christiana Mampour, Sex and Love Around the World. New episode tomorrow night at 10.
New example this morning of President Trump tossing some red meat to his base in West Virginia and ramping up immigration concerns by making some alarming claims about women coming to this country from Central America. Listen.
And remember my opening remarks at Trump Tower. I used the word rape. And yesterday it came out where this journey coming up, women are raped at levels that nobody's ever seen before.
The president yesterday in West Virginia will bring back John Avlon and Brian Karam. John, what is he talking about? You know, throwing this out there, what crisis specifically is he mentioning without any information or any
without any information or context? And the question, what is he talking about, is actually a very good lens to put on much of the president's public comments, unfortunately. He was recalling his announcement in July of 2015, in which he famously said Mexicans were coming into the country and raping people, but some of them were good people. I'm not sure why he's recalling this as a greatest hit. I think in the context of the moving National Guard to the border, he's saying that some of the human traffickers, you know, there's a pattern of sexual abuse and rape. That is
that's a real problem.
That is a real problem.
As migrants and people seeking asylum are trying to get to the U.S., they are raped. Not on this caravan. They're
Right.
not.
Not
I
on-
mean, that's why they're traveling in a caravan, for safety.
And it's not a new problem. It's been an ongoing problem.
Okay.
It's not a growing problem. It has been a problem since people began coming across the border, and you pay coyotes to bring you across the border. Having patrolled that border, this is not. It's a disingenuous deflection of what the real issues are, and it's by alarming people.
But it's also suggesting that this caravan of people seeking political asylum, that they're rapists coming.
Yeah. And that's not the case.
Not only is it not the case, I mean, let me just go to there is a BuzzFeed reporter traveling along with this caravan. Here's what he reports. I've been with the caravan for 12 days. Haven't seen or heard of anyone being raped at levels that nobody has ever seen before. To be clear, I haven't heard of anyone being raped in or around.
Well, here's the other problem. What we know about a lot of particularly women with kids who are seeking asylum from Central America is that they are, and Mexico as well, they are trying to escape abusive situations.
Yes,
and there's been nobody in the administration who says, well, we have to patrol the border and enforce laws. We have a real concern about what happens when these folks are just turned around.
Let's talk about how this all came about. This whole issue came about because he had a press conference this week, a joint press conference in which he took one question from an American reporter, and the issue he decided to talk about was the border. he switched gears and started talking about the border and said, hey, we're going to bring in the military. Now, afterwards, many reporters, me included, went back to the White House and said, hey, what about the Posse Comitatus Act? You can't really use the military to police the border. Now, there are exceptions for the National Guard, and several people in that administration did not know what the Posse Comitatus Act was, and then said, hey, well, in an account of a national emergency, surely he can. No, he cannot. So then they went and did their research to see if they could back up what the president said, and then he came out with the National Guard, and then he doubled down by throwing away his script, and then doubled down again with the border, and it all conflated itself. This is typical. This is typical Trump behavior.
Well, and other misinformation when he started talking about voters.
Why it's really important to reality check the president's comments
every day.
Right? I mean, look, first of all, illegal immigration across the border, illegal crossings have been declining since 2004. That's important. So the urgency around this is political. It's too often the president plays the fear card with regard to illegal immigration rather than dealing with the facts. He is now deploying National Guard troops to the border. But that number seems to be...
He's not done it yet.
He has issued the proclamation.
But like the tariffs, it may not occur.
And it looks like it will be... this will almost certainly occur because there's no constraining factor. But that numbers that are probably seem to be between what President Obama deployed, 1,200, and what W. Bush deployed, around 6,000.
There was another moment yesterday where the president brought back up something that has been debunked over and over, and that is that millions and millions of illegal people voted in the election, in the 2016 election in California. Secretaries of state have been interviewed about this question across the country. We did not have a voting crisis, a voter fraud crisis. It does happen in small pockets, not to the millions and millions. Here's what he said yesterday again.
In many places, like California, the same person votes many times. You probably heard about that. They always like to say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Not a conspiracy theory, folks. Millions and millions of people.
Is a conspiracy theory, Mr. President.
That is a conspiracy theory. And I have but one question. If, in fact, this occurred, does this invalidate his election?
No, because he says they voted for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
that he knows.
Actually, one of the reasons he can't resist this conspiracy theory is that it rankles him that he lost the popular vote. Exactly. And so he says California had millions of people voting illegally, and so if you take that into account, he would have won the popular vote.
Let's just focus on the facts, though. He had a commission to look into this.
They
came up with nothing. He had to shut it down.
Yes.
So, I mean, the best way, I think the most important thing that people can take away is that there's no factual basis for a claim. Remember, this is also the guy who came into national political prominence claiming that our first African-American president was not born in America. So this is a problem because he'll go to places and people will hear it enough and say, this is true.
I want to pair him up with the Flat Earth Society. I mean, together perhaps they'll come up with something.
But I mean, Brian, this is the point. David's point is that I've done these voter panels where they quote that back to me because they have metabolized it. It is part of their reality now. They've read it, they've heard it, they heard the president say it, and so they believe that.
People stay inside their own philosophical cul-de-sac, and then whatever they hear that echoes back to them and reinforces it is what they believe.
All the more reason that it's important that the president have some fidelity to facts, and this one does not. And what it has the net effect of doing, is unfortunately decreasing faith in our democracy, adding ballast to that argument that this is a rigged system, even though he won the election, and demonizing illegal immigration.
I'd go further than that. It destabilizes the entire world. I'm sorry. You look at it. That's the bottom line.
Brian Karam, John Avalon, thank you both very much.
Serious stuff, but what about golf?
Let me tell you, after a 2-year hiatus, Tiger Woods officially returning to the Masters, but he gave fans little to cheer about, David. Details in the Bleacher Report next.
Dropbox is touching every industry and has redefined the way that work gets done.
It's a big moment for us. This is 10 years in the making. Today marks a new chapter in reimagining how people use technology at work and making working life better for hundreds of millions of people.
We are incredibly proud to be your partner and look forward to supporting you for many, many years to come.
Here's to an amazing next 10 years.
We knew Angie's List had reviews of home pros.
But so do lots of websites.
I didn't want to pay.
Then I found out it's free. Wait, it's free?
Free to check ratings, read reviews.
And they'll even match your project with a few qualified pros for the job.
Go to angieslist.com today.
Every legacy comes with a burden, an expectation to surpass. But that's the point. Bring us doubt, and we'll bring you the first car with true hands-free driving for the freeway. Bring us a challenge, and we'll reinvent what it means to own a car. Bring us all your expectations, and we'll defy them again and again and again.
An elevation in design, a breakthrough in performance. This is the Freestride Trainer by Nordic Track, combining the benefits of a stepper, treadmill, and elliptical into a single machine that's designed ergonomically to adapt to the way you move instead of you adapting to it. Explore the world on a touchscreen display with iFit powered by Google Maps. You can even work out with friends across the globe. The Freestride Trainer by Nordic Track. Rise above the ordinary.
You know that's poison ivy, right?
Yeah, no.
Game's about to start.